to me, and that's why I've always, the whole time I've been on YouTube, I have really stayed clear of the whole Muslim thing, because until we have any honor in how we are playing the political game, we got no arguments. I mean, we're in the asshole seat, and there's just no fucking way I can throw stones, because if I was in the reverse situation, yeah, any way I could fucking piss off that fucking, any way I can get that Goliath to be distracted. Maybe I can distract him and he'll start drawing cartoons, and while he's drawing cartoons, I'm going to shove a goddamn tree up his ass and he's going to die of splenorosis. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, as a David, I got all kinds of strategies to knock down the giant. And maybe I can get the giant to knock himself down drawing fucking goddamn cartoons.
So I mean, just two things. The first teaching of Islam is that there's no other God but Allah. So Muhammad is a apostle or prophet of God, but it's not Muhammad's teaching.
I never said Muhammad is God.
No, the first teaching of Islam. There is no other God. I'll read it to you right now. There is no deity but Allah, and Muhammad is the apostle. That's the first teaching of Islam. Second,
when did I said anything else?
You said that Muhammad was their number one teacher. No, God.
Yes. Well, Muhammad is his apostle, and they have the Quran, which is the word of God, and then they have the Hadith, which is the life of Muhammad and the sayings of Muhammad, which are just as important as the Quran. Any Muslim will tell you that. And any Muslim, if you ask them, would say that, you know, Muhammad is the highest example for how Muslims should act. I can give you videos about this, a bunch of them. I have, I mean, this is what they say, it's not what I say.
All right. Let's not get into a semantics argument. Let's all agree that Muhammad is the key figure in the Islamic religion. We can concede that, right, Lefty? So let's not argue it.
All right, on the semantics, I'll let it go. In terms of the idea that Muslims are getting a rough time, I would completely agree. I can't think of any violent terrorist or political act that has anything to do with religion. So if people are blaming Muslims at all, or implying that there's some connection there, I think that's a distortion every time, without exception. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm going to make this argument too, that I don't think there's any suicide bombers or anything that were thinking about God when they were goddamn doing what they were doing. I think they were thinking about the goddamn politics, and they were being a goddamn soldier, just like a soldier who would kamikaze pilot. I'd compare it to a kamikaze or some other thing. They were fighting for the cause of their people. All right, they're not fighting for Allah or for a God. They're fighting for their relatives, their dead relatives, or they're fighting for some other thing that has to do with about their people against this goddamn fucking force that's imposing itself on them.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that there's no, is this guy Max on, off? Okay. What I'm saying is that I see no harm in protesting something that would have become taboo, which is, you know, portraying Muhammad in cartoons, which is fucking ridiculous. It's America. I mean, it's not even Romania. It's fucking America.
It's ridiculous for people to make death threats against other people for offending their religion. We'll all agree on that. What the argument is about, what's the rational, intelligent, mature response to that immaturity? And I'm arguing that the mature response isn't an immature act of, well, I'm going to defy your edict and rub it in your face, and I'm going to use the threat of sleeping giant monstrous horror, okay? So I'm going to terrorize you back. I'm going to basically say, you try to kill me, I'm going to kill you twice. And then I'm going to stomp your dead mama, and then I'm going to burn down your house. And you know, it's like at the end of Unforgiven, you know, where he's like, yeah, you shoot me, and I'm going to kill your wife, and I'm going to kill your family, and I'll burn down your house, and I'll shoot your dog, and I'm going to squash your hamster. I mean, what, are we just going to keep elevating the threat terror index? You know, we'll just go to red, and go to super red, and double red, and triple red.
But you keep on arguing something that I'm not arguing. I'm not underfoot. I'm not supporting his message. I'm talking about the Draw Muhammad Day, which is simply drawings. If my video gets flagged, if my video gets pulled, and then there are 400 mirrors of it, which happened, you know, this is a sign that, well, if you flag these bitches' videos, they're gonna be all over the place. Well, if you censor this guy's cartoons, this cartoon is going to be all over the place. It is simply a protest to a tentative to censor.
I'm just saying, I think it's completely inverse to the intended result. I think it creates exactly the atmosphere they want. They want the hardline divisiveness. It's exactly what Osama bin Laden was after, is he wants the war. You know, he wants the defining moment kind of thing. So yeah, that's pushing it right to the. Let's just walk right down the road the lunatics are paving for us. Let's not follow some rational road. No, let's let the lunatics decide which way we're going to go.
It wasn't even Muhammad in the suit. It's like just coming down to mentioning Muhammad is bad, man.
Well, hold on, man. Like,
yeah, it was a bear.
Oh, go ahead. Well, all right. Well, two things on that, man. Like, the first thing is, if you ask, the majority of Muslims say that Osama bin Laden doesn't even speak for them, and America fell for it. The majority of Muslims don't even like him. So, you know, that whole terror bullshit is bullshit. And then the second thing is the South Park creators, they drew Muhammad before in this whole like Super Friends episode, and nobody complained because they weren't making a parody of him. They were like, this is Muhammad, he's a prophet, and he controls fire, and everybody was cool with that. But the moment you throw him in a fucking bear suit, and then all of a sudden he's goddamn Santa Claus, it's kind of like you're making fun of their God. And I'm not saying you don't have the right to do that, but you can't call people insane or call them terrorists just because you intentionally sought out to offend them and they got offended.
I know.
Like, we don't make death threats.
We have to fight it with something better than drawing cartoons. That's all. I mean, drawing cartoons, you have to admit, it sounds kind of silly as a way of fighting this. But let's be fair. South Park did portray the Christian God as a fucking hippopotamus. All right, so let's be fair. Okay, I mean, they've taken plenty of shots at the Christian God, and they've mocked him pretty good, and Satan, and the whole fucking thing, and so, but the point is these are fanatics. Why are we letting fanatics set the agenda? Because some fanatics post some death threats. Well, what? Like I said, what's the rational fucking response? Do we make death threats back at them? But this idea that you're going to offend all Muslims now because of the act of these fanatic Muslims seems kind of irrational.
Okay, Chad mentioned the previous episode in which they portrayed Muhammad. Yeah, that one was more offensive than this one. And nothing happened because they didn't have ammunition back then. But then this Canadian magazine published those cartoons, and some fanatics, you know, decided to make some death threats, which worked. And then, you know, another cartoonist, I don't know, it was some Jew cartoonist, yeah, drew also some, you know, pictures of Muhammad, and he got investigated by the Human Rights Committee, and he got out of his job. So they see that this works, and this is what they've been doing because it works. And this is just a fucking protest, Gary. I don't understand what's your problem. I mean, you said it yourself. You know, these cartoons made fun of everything. So why is this culture and this religion, why should they deserve more respect just because there are some fanatics in it? Why should I respect that? I'm offended by them, okay? I'm offended by this idea.
Yeah, well, defend the original program, but not fight back with more of the same crap. I mean, this is the argument is to fight for people's rights originally, but this does get a little bit dicey, okay? I mean, Chad's in the room. What if South Park decides to do some watermelon jokes and some other kind of crap that's really motherfucking offensive to people? Because a few black people do something crazy. I mean, what the hell would that be? Would that be fair or right or just or any of this other shit? No. I'm just saying defend South. I completely defend, and we should protect people from any of these sanctions. If somebody imposes such a death threat, then maybe we should just, like I said, maybe the first response, if any, is going to be just invert it, like do the God thing, you know, like they did with Moses. You know, I mean, with the Pharaoh. You know, whatever comes out of